The reactants of cellular respiration are glucose and oxygen. This process occurs in both plant and animal cells and has three parts. The first part, called glycolysis, involves the reactant glucose, which is being represented by a Krabby Patty. Glucose contains a 6-carbon skeleton, with each carbon being a patty. 2 ATP are then broken down into ADP and an inorganic phosphate, each upon reaching a glucose molecule. The ADP molecule then leave and go float around the cell as they are not needed for now in this part of glycolysis. The 2 inorganic phosphate are then left and are able to combine with the glucose on its end. Additionally, there are 2 other inorganic phosphate that are floating around the cell that come and split the glucose into 2 3-carbon molecules by bonding in between the 3rd and 4th carbon. The end result of this is 2-pyruvate, which are 3-carbon molecules. Along with pyruvate, cells are also able to keep something else from glucose with the help of hydrogenase, which is represented here with Squidward's clarinet. This enzyme helps remove 2 hydrogens from glucose. While 1 proton, or secret formula, leaves the location of the process, the 2 electrons with the remaining proton are then added to Squidward, or a molecule called NAD+. When these charges combine with NAD+, they make NADH, which is the reduced form of NAD+. In this video is represented by handsome Squidward because it contains more energy. To summarize, the end products of glycolysis are 2-pyruvate, 4 ATP, and 2 NADH. The 4 ATP come from the inorganic phosphates that were removed. There is only a net gain of 2 ATP, however, because the other 2 are needed to restart the process all over again. The patties, or carbon, are now in the formation of glycolic acid. A single carbon patty now leaves because CoA now replaces it. This creates a SpongeBob or acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA now goes to the Krebs cycle. NAD+ and FAD get reduced, and acetyl-CoA is oxidized. FADH2, 2 NADH, and 2 ATP are produced. These substances are now transported and used in the transport chain. As you can see, an unfit Larry the Lobster goes into the Krusty Krab and comes out as a fit Larry the Lobster, aka FADH2. ADP, aka $1 bill, and 50 cent go into the Krusty Krab and come out as a $2 bill. As we can see, the final products are 2 $2 bills, aka ATP, 2 NADH, aka Handsome Squidward, and 1 FADH2, aka Larry the Lobster. The products of the Krebs then enter the protein complexes, or money safes, of the electron transport chain and go through different processes. The first reactant of the electron transport chain we'll demonstrate is NADH, or Handsome Squidward. This molecule releases its 2 electrons and 1 proton into the first protein complex, which results in the creation of NAD+. The molecule FADH2, or improved Larry the Lobster, enters the electron transport chain later in the chain than NADH. It also gives off its electrons and proton into a protein complex to make FAD. Meanwhile, the 2 electrons travel along the protein complexes, providing the power for them to allow the H protons, or secret formula, to exit the reduced molecules vertically through protein complexes, aka the safes where they are stored. The H protons then build up inside the intermembrane space, while the 2 electrons are received by the electron acceptor of oxygen at the end of the protein complexes. Without oxygen, this part of cellular respiration cannot occur. Going back to the H protons, or secret formulas, they are then performing facilitated diffusion with the help of ATP synthase, or Mr. Krabs. While the H protons travel through the protein, this action provides energy for the combining of ADP and inorganic phosphate to make ATP. This last part of cell respiration produces the most net gain ATP, 30 from the NAD+, and 4 from the FAD. Lastly, 4 from glycolysis in the Krebs cycle. These ATP will then be used to provide energy for many metabolic functions in the cell that contribute to its survival. To summarize the connection to SpongeBob, the secret formula is leave the safe and help Mr. Krabs run the Krusty Krab and fulfill his love for money. Through this process, Mr. Krabs is able to generate the most money possible. And that is cellular respiration.